but still I woke up today. Another day they get on my grind. Got me singing, whoa, whoa. Effort, I'm built for born ready. Whoa, whoa. Effort, I'm built for born ready. I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today. Another day they get on my grind. Got me singing, whoa, whoa. Effort, I'm built for born ready. Whoa, whoa. Effort, I'm built for born ready.
Good evening, Livewire fans, and welcome to another episode of Between the Lines presented to you by Livewire Sports. We are here today. It is Monday, another magnificent Monday. We always have good times here on Mondays on Between the Lines. We have a very special guest coming on for you guys tonight. But before we get to that, I want to let you guys know that we do have all of our old episodes and our old podcasts Between the Lines, both on our YouTube page, which is at Livewire Sports, as well as on our Facebook page at Livewire Sports. So if you've missed any episode from Between the Lines in season 1 or season 2, you can head over to our YouTube page and our Facebook page and find all of those episodes right there for you guys. We are well into season 2 now. I think this is the 5th episode. We're going to keep it rolling. We have a lot of VIP people that we can honor, that we can share their stories, and just have a good conversation about where sports is going in the Virgin Islands. Now, on tonight's show, we have a very special guest. This is Mr. KShaun Daley. KShaun, how you doing today?
Fine. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
Great to have you. Hey, we're going to have a good time on the show here tonight. We got a little interview here for you, but we know the fun part of the show is always coming down to the end where we have our interactive segment. But we're going to start with the interview, get you a little comfortable, make you feel, real good about the situation.
I have still catching a good bit of feedback. I'm having a problem catching you guys clear.
Let's see if our production here in the background can fix this for us. Can you hear us good now?
Hello?
Yep, can you hear us now?
I can hear you. It just kind of distorted. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, we can hear you definitely very clear. Let's go ahead and get this fixed because we want to make sure that we are able to communicate greatly for this platform we have here. So if you can hear me, go ahead and answer. You can hear me well?
Still a bit of feedback. You were coming through clear for just a moment.
Yeah, let me see if we can fix that over here on our end.
Boom. You just come up clear.
All right, so we're good now.
Perfect.
All right, let's go. Now, it's a reason that it came up clear because they know we got a good thing here for our viewers. So we have to make sure we get everything clear, everything clean up so we can have a good show here for our viewers. But let's go ahead and just start with you. Now, where are you from?
St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, land path to be
exact. Listen. I love how you said that just now. Like you put some emphasis on the Virgin Islands right there. And I ain't gonna lie to you. We're from the same place, so we definitely gonna talk a little bit more after this show is over. Definitely. But what were some of the sports that you played when you were growing up?
Well, see, I was kind of lucky. On the corner of my neighborhood was a bar owned by Cyril Benjamin, CB.
Right.
Like a well-known, recreational figure, sports figure in the Virgin Islands. So I had first-class information. I would know exactly what was going on around in my age group because CB were right on the corner. So I played Little League in St. Thomas. I was introduced to the game of basketball in St. Thomas. That's pretty much the extent of it. From the other sports, really didn't interest me too much.
Now, which sport did you play first?
I played baseball first.
No, that's the interesting thing. A lot of other places in the world, they have their different kind of gateway sports. Our gateway sport here in the Virgin Islands has always been baseball. We start baseball at 3 years old, just about, and from there we get our skills and we get our coordination, and then we kind of branch off into different avenues that still make us great in sports.
I don't know how skilled and coordinated I was, but but nonetheless, it was like my introduction to team, and I think that was more valuable a lesson than anything else at that time, at that age.
And that's a very big thing that we kind of overlook. Well, people who don't kind of like sports, they overlook that teamwork aspect, that hard work, that dedication. And sports brings all those things to us when we start, especially at a young age. It teaches us from then about adversity, about overcoming adversity. So sports are definitely a great thing to get started in, even at a young age as 3 or 4 years old.
Right, right.
Now, did you have any success playing either these sports on the little league level or BD level?
Success, how you measure success?
You're right. That's a good question. A lot of people measure success in different ways.
Yeah, because I mean, we're talking at a developmental stage in your life, so I
Right.
just try to figure out exactly, by which success is measured, so I can make sure I was successful.
Let's get a little easy with it. Any star teams, any championships, any
Nah, I ain't do none of that. I was
MVP?
just an average guy. Nah,
Nothing is wrong with that.
most of that stuff came later. Like but see, the relationships built through sports. Like, see, my little league team were unique. We were coached by Coach Chesterfield and Coach Sarro. So, luckily at that time, Coach Sarro had a daughter that could play ball. I played baseball with a girl that made an all-star team over me. She's a senator now. So see, like those kind of relationships, that's the stuff you don't really know. You know where it started, but you don't know where you're gonna end up. Things kind of, take a turn for themselves as you go, a little bit older and go on.
So now, would you have making that statement? I could kind of see that you've had some people in your life that you met at those young ages that you still continue to be friends with today.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right. So did you go on to play any junior high sports, middle school, Cancran, BCB, any of those
No,
sports?
no. Maryland hit. I attended Saints when I was in St. Thomas.
Yeah.
So school were kind of beat. I think me as an entity in itself, I was kind of outgrowing the setting, and it was important both for my growth and I guess my mom as well that we try something new. So we moved to Atlanta in like '96, immediately following the Summer Olympics after Maryland. So I went to junior high in Atlanta and graduated high school in Georgia as well.
No, so that's about 12 or 13 years old when you moved away from the Virgin Islands.
12 years.
Yeah. Now, what school did you attend in Georgia? What city?
I went to Marietta High School. It's like right north of Atlanta in Cobb County. Marietta Middle School as well. Played basketball at both schools and went on played in college as well. Played on really special teams at Marietta High School. Patrick Ewing Jr. and Chris Ellis, Dale Ellis' son, were all my teammates. We were a top 5 team in the country. So, those experiences are some you can't really trade. You just kind of have them and you keep rolling on and you try to remember the intricate parts of the memories, but you just build on it.
Now, oftentimes we kind of look, we kind of stay inside of our bubble when we stay here in the Virgin Islands. We don't get to experience the kind of sports or the way they play sports in the States. What was something that was big that you learned or that you saw in the States that you didn't get to see here growing up while you were playing or watching sports here?
Having CNN follow us in the hallways of school and ESPN, like with them big heavy camera and all them cords, and like that was just, to me, like as a young boy, that was like my first taste of understanding the global capacity of basketball and how far being good could really take you. So one way or the other, at that point I was hooked. This is what I wanted to do.
So was that one of your main motivators that kind of showed you like, yeah, I could play sports anywhere in the world if I could have this kind of media coverage behind me at this point?
I mean, it was kind of the media coverage, but I mean, at the high school level, to have your games, like the games start at 7:30, and you seeing people mother and thing like clock out or work at noon, and when you walk out of school in the afternoon, the bell ring, and people in line to buy tickets, and they ain't getting no place till the game tip. It's 5 hours from now, 4 hours from now, and By the time we leave to eat, get a nap, and come back, the line is a mile down the road, literally. No parking for miles and food places sold out. So, that was like I never see basketball as a business entity or like see people make money or any of that until that time. For me, it was just always just something to do. I didn't really have a good concept of it.
Definitely, definitely. Now, would you kind of move into the states and kind of further your basketball career? You said you play with a lot of well-known players. Did your team have
And
any success together? Did your team have any success together?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Any state tournaments? Any championships?
All of that. We've done it.
No. What year? What year were you in when you had this experience with maybe a state championship or a state tournament?
We went to the state tournament every year except my senior year. Final four,
Wow.
all that stuff. We've done it all. So my junior year, I think we went like 31-1 or something like that.
Wow.
On a national schedule, so we travel. We just play like in the state. We travel across the country to play. So
Now, see, that's something different because here in the Virgin Islands, we get the travel to St. Croix, or you get the travel from St. Croix to St. Thomas. You maybe go Puerto Rico, go to Florida, maybe. What were some of the places you were able to travel while you were playing high school basketball on that basketball team?
man, I mean, a lot of places. We started our season in Arkansas,
Wow.
North Carolina, Florida. Just, I mean, we played, like we traveled, play one game and come home. We went quite a few places.
So you were kind of not necessarily the NBA life, but you were traveling to play ball basically, and still at
No,
the same.
definitely not the NBA. Like the people put us on a school bus, the cheese. And
Listen, you have to live at your level at that point. You're still in high school. You have to ride the school buses.
yeah. Go there, you see big dudes sprawl across from one aisle to the next, and just a gym bag under your head. You're still roughing it now.
Yeah,
It's just a lower level of roughing it than the multitude.
definitely, definitely. Now, did you have any outstanding awards while you were in high school in Georgia?
Nah, team was too good.
Hey,
Like on good teams, you don't really like outstanding awards. Normally go to people that either lead a team like ours, which in all honesty I didn't lead. Um, you're on a team with 11 Division 1 players, so you
wow.
ain't lead that team so easy. The people that led on my team went to Wake Forest.
Big schools.
yeah, and so they were all state. Like Dale Ellis's son was all state and all of that. I mean, not have been as talented, but definitely far more dominant than the rest of us.
Okay, okay, that makes a lot of sense there. Now, with that being a situation that you were in where you had all this elite talent around you, what were some of the things you were able to learn as far as being a team player? Because sometimes you're just not the star player, but you could still be a contributor to the team. You could still be a good teammate. What were some of the things you were able to do to be a good teammate, even if you weren't the star of the show in that situation?
No, I mean everybody have their moment,
Right.
right? So it ain't necessarily like just because your number ain't the one called for the last shot, don't mean that you can't hit the 5 or 7 that you were given before then. It
Definitely.
don't mean that because you open, you're gonna lay the ball up. Nah, you're gonna turn the crowd up just like everybody else. It's just a mentality.
Right.
So it allowed me to remain relevant.
Okay. Okay. Definitely. Definitely. Now, moving on into your collegiate career, let's stick to high school because you were told. I know you played against some very good players. You have anybody remember that you played against on the way to that 31-1 record that I had that year?
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah.
Who are some of the players that you played
Well,
against?
our first game was against Brandon Bass. Um, we played Charlie Villanueva and Luau Deng that year. They were on the same team. Um, Josh Smith and Morris Allman played in our region. Like we had NBA players in our neighborhood in our county. So they were 2 first-round picks on the same high school team.
That's crazy.
Um, Jamario Davidson, who played with the Golden State Warriors, was in our region as well. Yeah, so I mean, absolutely, we had NBA players in our region, professional athletes on every team, whether it be overseas or so forth and so on. A couple NFL guys, like Cobb County in Georgia is one of the more affluent areas. So what you end up with is a larger demographic of willing parents that would put in the time for their children to develop. So our crew in general, we all went to the same Boys and Girls Club. When I first reached Atlanta, that's when my mother took me.
Right.
So we all became, friends and we stick together. We develop together.
Now,
But at the same time, with talent everywhere.
now, how important was it for the support that the school and the community gave towards sports? Was that a big motivating factor for the players as well as the coaches that were involved with this team?
No, no, we were turning it up for the. It didn't matter where you go.
So they came to see a show. It wasn't really but they came to see a show.
They come for the show. It's showtime. It ain't really about that. Like
Definitely.
sports at a higher level don't really is not really so much community driven. Cause a lot of the times you supported by the community and you may do it to represent the community. But
Right.
I mean, a lot of the times these players and these situations and these teams they outgrow the community. So they're more sometimes they're more supported there may be a whole course behind them. It might be, yo, this is the best guy on the West Coast, and you make everybody, it
Yeah,
just it grows.
definitely, definitely. Now moving on to your college years, what are some of the schools that you were recruited by when you made it to the next level?
It was a lot more than I wish I knew now what I knew then, but it was a lot. It was like overbearing. I wasn't well versed. Like my family never had a collegiate athlete before me. It was just at that time, like I was living with my mom in Atlanta by herself. So we were just learning as we went along. But it was a lot. It was more than I could have ever expected. It was a lot.
Now, which one was your eventual choice that you made to go to college?
Howard University.
Howard University. No, that's a good one. There, I love the HBCU pride. Like whenever I hear somebody go to
Yeah,
a
me last day, I ain't last day long.
hey, listen,
But
you chose it. What was that reason that you chose to go that route to go to a HBCU?
at that time, it was the coaching staff. And like I say, from St. Thomas. So when I sit in, I don't care how big the university is. These men coming in the living room telling me they want me to work hard. I was going for who tell me I gonna start today. You know what I mean? That was my decision was more so based on opportunity than
Right.
uh, than good measure.
Listen, at 18 years old, we don't always make the best decisions for us, but we try to make the best decisions for us. So definitely at
I
18
mean,
years
for
old,
an average student, is a great opportunity, but for a basketball player, for an athlete,
yeah,
there was definitely better opportunity out there. They
definitely.
tricked me. They bring me up on homecoming weekend.
Oh yeah,
I from St. Thomas. Like I used to seeing our people run everything. So like that's the feel that I got at an HBCU. Like we run everything, and that's what I like. They were just and I never really um, I never had been to a HBCU homecoming, so the culture, just seeing what was going on and the fraternities and all kind of stuff, it was just like to me it looked like it's a different world, like different like
yeah.
that show that used to come on TV, and that was
That
kind of
was,
cool to me.
that was very strategic of them to bring you there in homecoming weekend.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I didn't
Definitely.
understand recruiting at that point either.
No. What was one of the things that you were faced with that you struggled with maybe when you first entered college? Because that high school to college jump, there's always some setbacks that students have when they go to the next level. What were some of the things that you were faced with when you actually got to the next level?
At the high school level, you could kind of walk through stuff if you're talented, athletic. But the collegiate level, everybody could play. Like
Exactly.
They didn't really got to be great, like talent wise, but they're there for a reason. Like if they're on scholarship, they were probably dominant where they're from. So when you get there, that was the biggest thing to me. Is like, wow, we really gotta run fast every sprint, and like, and if that man beat me, I look bad.
Everybody going for the same spots. Yeah.
Yeah, that was culture shock for me. Coming from where I was to where I was going.
Now, was there any point where you feel like you were not mentally ready or not physically ready for that jump
Absolutely,
to college?
absolutely, absolutely.
Was the weight room one of the things that you kind of struggle with?
No, it was conditioning. One way weight room.
Listen,
The weight room was no problem to me.
mhm.
Practice was no problem. Games were no problem. But boy, listen, when you start screaming suicide on 17 and 6 a.m. conditioning and nah, that was the worst for me. The worst.
That's one of the things I think is important to get out to our collegiate athletes or potential collegiate athletes that are in high school, that the training is a different level. You might be the
Mm.
best player in your region, your county, your
But
state, but when you reach to that school, they were the best players in their state, their region, their country as
yeah,
well
but
too.
when we going line to line, none of them buckets can save you. Like you have to
Right?
be in shape. You could go score 30, it don't matter. Like we going line to line, and this is a full court game. So those sprints count just as much as your points. Because without being able to win those sprints, chances are you ain't gonna be able to get open to score your points. So it's like it goes hand in hand, it gets tough.
That's a very important thing that we need to get out to our students. Definitely, that you gotta work hard. Like even when you get there to that level, you ain't making it. You still have to work for your spot. You might have a spot on the team, but you have to work to climb the ladder against all these elite athletes that are around you, really and truly.
Absolutely.
Now, you say you didn't last long, but give us a brief rundown of your collegiate career there at Howard University.
Um my maturity wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I didn't really see it as an opportunity because the basketball is just like uh, fumbled. I wouldn't say fumbled. I went to upgrade to go to a better school that were more suited for me. It didn't really end up that way, but it did. Um, it wasn't the best fit for me, and DC isn't the best place for some people. It's better that you go to a school where it's a little bit more diverse, where you held more accountable for every aspect of yourself instead of just basketball.
Now, how did you do with the cold in DC?
Uh-uh.
Was it for you?
Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Now, which school did you transfer to after you left Howard University?
I transferred to a junior college, um, which I just couldn't take in Oklahoma either, so I ended up transferring again quickly to a junior college in Alabama, which I stayed at. I was an all-star in that conference my sophomore year, played well, and then just more of me being myself. I ended up transferring to a Division II and enjoyed myself. Pleasure fraternity and finished school and met some great people and just keep moving.
Now, what you said just now is something that's really important. I don't know if you know that. You are a D1 talented player and you
Mhm.
went back to JUCO. A lot of players kind of overlook JUCO as in JUCO is not good enough or you can't make it there. But there are always D1 talented players that are playing JUCO for several different reasons. Yours was just a choice to change institutions, while others may be grades, others may be just the exposure that they don't have, but the JUCO level can still help develop you into that player that you want to be.
Well, I mean, for me, it wasn't like the average player. To be honest, I was only recruited by the top 5 or 10 JUCOs in the country. Like nobody else contacted me. Everybody I spoke to were you could look at them and they were in the top 10. Indian Hills, those level. It was Okaloosa Walton, which I think is Northwest Florida State now. Um, Panola Junior College in Texas. It was that level. Shelton State, Bevel State. it was really high level JUCOs. I wasn't recruited by the people with no dorms or no meal plan. So
Right.
for me, JUCO was better because as a student, I was a little bit more progressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't willing to stay in college for 5 years, which for most people, that's a plan. But for me, that was never part of the plan. So I didn't need the extra year eligibility. It didn't matter where I play. I just don't want to sit down because I eat fungi and thing, and I'm big. So I need to play. But that was pretty much it for me. I just didn't want to sit out. Like, so I went to junior college to play. Why not academic issue or nothing like that? I was fully qualified in junior college play.
Definitely. But I just wanted to get out it. Like people, it have different reasons that people go to JUCOs because you always had a negativity like, oh, I too good for a JUCO. But that time can be helped to develop your skill to get you to the level you want. A lot of players have made it to the NBA from the JUCO level. So you could go to a JUCO and you could still make it successfully. You could go to JUCO baseball and make it to the MLB. It's an option.
It draft a lot of people into the major leagues from junior college. They don't care.
Definitely. Now, were you able to have any success at any of the universities you attended while playing basketball? As in your
No, we were just a 500 team. I mean, like college basketball ain't what people think, right? So people are under the impression because they have cable, right, that everybody to win like Kansas. That's not true. Like, no, I played 500 basketball. We went 500 every year, a game or two over 500. We had great players, professional dunkers, guys that went on to play professionally. But everybody have that. It's college. Like everybody's pretty good. So we wanted to, win 25 games, but it didn't happen. Some of the teams were better.
Some people have struggles when they go to institutions when it comes to either playing ball or even in just academics. Was there any moment in life where you felt that you wanted to give up on playing basketball and probably chose another route, maybe just finishing your school degree?
Absolutely, but it don't work like that. First of all, I on scholarship, so this is how I pay for my degree. Right. And it's a job. So if you think you're going to call out a work and still be able to get a paycheck, you're wrong. And that was more so, my motivation. Like, okay, you quit, you can be homeless. So you need to play until these people have no more minutes for you to play, and then you could start thinking about what you want to do next.
Now you're into a new career path since your collegiate days. When did you realize that you could have a kind of a career in sports without actually playing anymore?
You want a politically correct answer, or you want the truth? Maybe 4 years ago, possibly 4 or 5.
Listen, honesty is the best policy. Sometimes you just don't know it, but that's something that you can kind of look back on now and say that at least you found that niche for you. You found that thing that you feel you can move on into in the sports world. So you still get to be around your passion, and now you get paid for it. So definitely a good situation overall still.
Right.
Now we're going to take a little short break right here with Between the Lines. We'll be back with more right after this. We're going to get into your career. We can talk a little bit more about that. Get out to the people, and then don't worry. I see you laughing over there, but you ain't going to be laughing too much when we get to that interactive segment. We'll be right back with more Between the Lines presented to you by Livewire Sports. We are back with more Between the Lines here, presented to you by Live Wire Sports. We are still here with our guest, KShaun Daley. KShaun, you still here with us?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I thought we lose you for a second. It take a little while to come back on the screen there.
No, I right there.
All right, so can you tell us what is your current career right now?
I am currently the FIBA basketball agent at Bears Basketball.
Wow. All right, so can you actually tell us what FIBA is for our listening audience that may not know what FIBA is, what it stands for?
FIBA is the governing body of international basketball. So every league outside of the NBA that is sanctioned is under FIBA.
Okay. Now, what is your role as a FIBA agent? So what is your day-to-day responsibilities?
Oh, more or less just to secure, sequester, and solicit contracts for high-level athletes across the world.
Wow. Now, it's crazy how you come from a small place like St. Thomas and you are branching out where you are basically worldwide. You have to secure contracts with all these different players, these different partnerships. Like, how crazy is that you are making a worldwide impact for a worldwide corporation, well, worldwide business?
Crazy. Crazy. Like, I didn't expect it. It definitely wasn't in the plans, but it was in God's plan.
Definitely.
In Ja'ada.
Now, were you able? Well, I know you have. Where were some of the most exciting places you've been able to travel because of FIBA?
I've been everywhere.
Now, give me one place that's your favorite place that you want to go back on vacation when you're not working. I just want to get you.
That's a
You
tough
got
one.
a couple of options there.
Yeah.
Give me a top three, make it a little bit easier.
I'd say probably Africa. Yeah, like I. It's tough, but more than likely Africa. Yeah.
Now, which part of Africa are we talking about here?
Rwanda is dope. It's really nice. I'd like to go really from north to south, east to west. I'd like to spend like 2 months and just circle the whole thing. So,
Now, while you're on your trip there, you can travel for the African Basketball League.
no, I'm gonna secure some more than bags though. I can't catch one already.
No, would you wanting to visit Africa? What do you think about that African Basketball League that the NBA has?
I think it's coming. It's really good. I actually been involved since the beginning. Since the combine here in America, in New York, I was there. Met with a lot of the GMs and the presidents from Africa at that time, probably like over 2.5 years ago. Um, all the way to its stages now. I actually had a player with AS Douane, which is the Senegalese representative of in the Basketball Africa League. And I plan to send some more imports over there, just hopefully in really good situations going forward.
That's a big thing right there. Now, how did you even get into this career? Because I don't even think I've ever heard of a FIBA agent. How did you get into this career path?
See, years ago, when I came home from college, I went to. It was in the middle of recession, and I had nothing to do, really and truly. I was working at a boys and girls club in Georgia, and I was working in the gym. So at the time, it was just like one of those neighborhood spots, and I would see some of the players, and then be like, "Yo, he all right. Hey, what about you to play?" And talk to another dude. Where you to play? None of them man ain't playing no place, and they were all like 14, 15 years old. So out of my own pocket, my girlfriend, who's my wife now, actually used to drive the van. We used to pay somebody to go rent us a van because we weren't old enough. You had to be 25 to rent a van, so we had to pay somebody to go get a van for us. We rent a van and throw them on the van, and we take these boys out of town by training them directly from my college workout book. So these boys 14, 15 years old, but they're completing college workouts sometimes 1.5 in a day. So as you would probably imagine, they got exponentially better. Well, I didn't have any idea as to how those little boys were growing me as an entity. So by the time I was 24, I had my own sneaker deal with Fila. I'm the youngest person in America ever to sign a grassroots sneaker deal. I signed one at 24 years old for over 6 figures with Fila. So after dealing with those boys and growing, I still didn't know that basketball was like my way because I didn't understand the contract.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
I didn't understand the job that I was involved in. I didn't understand the contract that I had signed to, and I just kind of got stressed out. It was a bit much for me to digest at that age, so I ran away from it. But then I moved on to being a coach with the Atlanta Celtics, which is like the #1 travel basketball program in America for grassroots for young boys. And I had a really high level crew that I kept for like 5 or 6 years, and ended up with 4 McDonald's All-American after that. So as you know, most of those boys became pros, and when they became pros, some of them were like, "Dog, I ain't in a place without you. Let's go."
Yeah, definitely a relationship where there's loyalty involved there. You help them to get where they are, and they definitely leave you behind. So it's
yeah,
just
I didn't look at it like help. I guess I didn't look at it like work. Like it was just me and those boys. I had those boys for so long that they were just a part of me. So I didn't see it like work, and I guess that's what made it so easy for me to do it.
Now that's amazing for you to be 23, 24 years old, and you basically having a travel team managing 15 and 14-year-old boys. Because the age gap ain't really there, but I guess the time that you put in with them, the effort that you put in, the relationship that you built with them.
By the time I signed the deal, the boys were actually 16.
Wow.
By the time I signed that deal, those boys were 16 years old. So, I was like 7 or 8 years their senior in some cases. But even to this day, those boys see me, they call me Coach K. It's crazy because like big man with cheering on your own. Like it's KShaun. They're like, nah, bro, Coach.
It's just a respect thing. Like I up to now, I still call me coaches, but it's just a thing where it's like that ultimate respect for them, regardless of how old you are. So definitely a big accomplishment there for you. I definitely can look up that newspaper article. I know I have an article out there with you signing the youngest person to sign a contract with.
I wasn't smart enough to be media savvy, but you could find a few articles out there with a future elite with a FILA sponsored program, my program before I fooled it. Yeah, I'll go. Absolutely.
Now, what was the name of your program?
Future Elite.
Say it one more time, a little bit louder.
Future Elite.
Future Elite. All right. Now, we have a lot of travel teams here in the Virgin Islands as well, between St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John, even over in the BVI. How important is it for players to be on travel teams to help develop their skill, or even just to get an experience of playing a new set of people?
In today's game, it's imperative. You have to travel. It's impossible to be good without it. You have to travel.
Now, I'm pretty sure you went West Coast, East Coast, up north with all these teams that you coached. At what point did you realize, like you said, it wasn't a thing for you at first? What point did you realize that you are doing something that is steering kids in a positive direction?
Wow. Maybe 3 years ago.
Wow.
I had no idea. I put hundreds of children in college, but you don't see really where it's going until they get there. So you just moving and you moving and you moving, and like I run into a boy in a barber shop like a couple of weeks ago. I take my son to get his hair lined up, and a boy come in and the man like, hey, yo, you don't know this dude? He coaching at the high school. You got to know this dude, this young boy coming up. That's what the barber them telling me, right? And me self studying the boy, my back turned, so I swing around. And the boy said, you don't know nothing. That man put me in college. That man put me through school. But what happened is that boy father had coached me in middle school. So when that boy come out of college and he had nothing, I just feel compelled to help him. But it slipped my mind. And people will tell me all the time, like the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. So I do stuff and I forget because I the axe. I just doing what I'm doing. But
Right.
the tree was affected, so the tree remembered. And that's kind of the way it been. Like I lose track. Like I don't even know. But these boys start to hit now as they start to get older, and I watching boys that used to be smashing a grilled cheese in my frying pan with no shut on in the summertime, just trying to get grilled cheese and a Gatorade, and then now these boys asking me where I want to go on vacation. I got one of them looking to book me a ticket to Costa Rica right now. It just changes so quickly. So
Now,
I
about
didn't.
how long have you been involved? Let's say with being a FIBA agent, not necessarily coaching basketball because that sounds like it's been a while. But being a FIBA agent, how long have you been doing this?
Like 4 years. I've been a certified agent since 2019. So that would actually be 2 years as a certified agent and like 4 years in a managerial capacity.
Now, where are some of your players that you are representing? Where are some of the countries that they play in?
Turkey, Africa, Argentina, Israel, uh, Ukraine, Luxembourg, Georgia, um, Germany, Austria, Greece,
So a lot of places.
Canada.
Now, I know you to keep up with their stats, keep up with everything that they're doing. Do you ever get to actually see the games live in person?
Yeah. I'll definitely be back over this year too now with the COVID restrictions. Turkish airline owe me a great dollar over a couple times.
No, with some of your players being in different places, how did COVID affect what you guys had going on as far as leagues being canceled or maybe not having a league to play in because of COVID?
I mean, I probably had like, I was one of the blessed agents, right? So 90% of my client list played and made money this year. But I mean, in terms of margins, we were probably off like about 42% in terms of salary. And we had to go ahead and give it up. Otherwise, the players would have went unemployed because a lot of teams were subsidized by the governments. So they could only offer you what they had. So
Right.
where normally we offer you a contract, upwards of 150 grand, 250 grand. No, those contracts were coming in at like 80 or 90, and you had to take them. Otherwise, you just don't get nothing.
Now, I really want to ask you, what's your ultimate goal for these players? But I know is to secure the bag for them. But when you were dealing with younger players, what was your ultimate goal for those players that you were coaching and training at that point?
I ain't had no goal. I just want to make sure everybody go to school. Like, and when those players, when we had figured out, okay, these guys is top 20 in the country, they're going to school. At that point, they were like, all right, well, let's go to the biggest school. What Calipari saying? You know what I mean? Like Mike Krzyzewski, Roy Williams, they were all recruiting my players like on an everyday basis. So at that point, like I had a player go to Michigan State, another one go to Arizona, one go to Alabama, had one go to Texas. So with all of those guys, those high major, big time players, like we didn't even have pro aspirations because at that point I didn't know enough about the game on a pro level to really like the offering that kind of insight that said, "Bro, you can go to the league." But I didn't know the first step of how to get there, how to facilitate it. In all honesty, a player brought me with him. Kobe Simmons and his family brought me along. That's the God's honest truth. And when the boy was turning pro, him and his family decided that they wanted to involve me, and that's how I learned this business at such a high level. I was given a crash course on the inside of it. Over years before that, a really good friend of mine was in the NBA, and he made sure that I was involved to some degree as well, Josh Smith. So I learned the business just by being around.
Now, one of the things we often see is players think it's NBA or bust, MLB or bust, but there's thousands of leagues around the world where they have pro athletes.
Right.
What is some of the advice you would give to players that don't make it to the NBA, that they can still make it into international basketball in different countries?
To each his own, because it's not for everybody. If you feel like it's NBA or bust, it may very well be that way for you. You may feel like, okay, I ain't in the NBA, I need to go look what. And that's okay. That exists, but there's another set of players that would rather play basketball and do anything else. And for those players, they'll go wherever and they'll make wherever. And before you know it, some of those players are earning NBA players that's sitting on minimum deals for years.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and take our commercial break right here, our final commercial break for the night, and we're going to come back with our interactive segment. I hope you're ready. I think you're ready, but I hope you're ready for what's coming next. We'll be right back with more Between the Lines presented to you by Livewire Sports.
I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today, another day to get on my grind. Got me singing, oh, 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 oh. Effort, I'm built for pondering, oh, oh, oh. Effort, I'm built for pondering.
All right, Livewire fans, we are back with more Between the Lines presented to you by Livewire Sports. Coming up to our closing part here, we are still on with KShaun Daley. KShaun, you still here with us?
Right here.
All right, still here, still got you. All right, so we completed the interview. Did very well. We
Good,
have
good.
to get into our interactive segment here. Now, we're going to play a little game just for a little fun, get a little bit of the stress out, get a little bit of good times going here. So, we're going to play a game what we call a few of my favorite things. All right. So, I'm going to mention something and I want you to tell me your favorite thing in that category. Sounds simple, right? I think we get. I think we get. All right. So, let's start a little easy. Favorite color.
Blue.
All right, so everything on the screen is live wire red, as you can see. So I ain't really sure that we're accepting this blue answer, but I guess we gotta take it. But we'll take
Blue outcome.
blue. All right. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, I forget to give you the rules of the show. If I disagree with it and it's really bad, you might have to get kicked off. You really might have to. So be wise in your choice of answers on this live wire between the lights episode.
Okay.
All right. Favorite athlete.
Usain Bolt.
Ah, that's a good one. Now, why is he your favorite? That's a very good one, though.
You gotta be willing to dominate. That's like bottom line. Like you gotta be willing to dominate. You do what it takes to dominate.
I ain't gonna lie, I was expecting a basketball answer, but that one that really shocked me, and that's a person that a lot of people don't realize his greatness. Like everybody thinks, yeah, he's fast, he could run track, he won a lot of medals, but like the way he dominated his sport for that run that he had is insane. A lot of people have not been able to dominate the sport in that way.
Dominant.
Favorite musical artist?
That's a tough one.
That's what we want. We like the tough one. We like when we make you have to think a little bit.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. We go.
We gotta get it.
No, we gonna pass. That's a tough one. You have a lot of ties at the top. You know what I mean?
Okay, you get a two-way tie or a three-way tie?
I'm like a 5-way tie, but if we just have to pick somebody, Bob Marley. Like
Bob Marley. Okay.
ahead of everybody.
I'm interested in hearing these five. So give me a top five. In any order. They don't have to be in order. Who is your five? Who's on Mount Rushmore for you with music?
You have certain music. See, for me, ain't just the music. It's like why. It's always a why, right? And like I big on like 2 Chainz, Nipsey Hussle. Believe it or not, a lot of Midnight and Pressure. Like a lot of Midnight and Pressure.
Love the homegrown.
Jay-Z.
Okay, look how we sticking a little bit here. I missed that last one. Say that one again.
Jay-Z.
All right, okay. That's a good little five, you know. I could take that.
Yeah.
Let me see. What else we get here? Your favorite hobby besides sports? This is half our athlete. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because when you think about it, athletes just like play sports, watch sports.
I play 2K with my son.
All right, video games looking like it, no, but now sports, video games. I can take it.
See what I'm saying? It's like that's a weird question. Like
everything is sports, right?
I really like 2K.
We're gonna take the video game as an answer for that one day. We'll take that one day.
Right.
We get a little intense now. Favorite sports team?
I don't have one of those.
I'm glad. Very glad.
Yeah, agent and like no team.
That's good because I mean
like, that don't even make sense. Like that's the wrong question. Like, that's the other side of the table. That's like, yeah, you like your enemy, my boy. Like that.
You gotta be able to wear any jersey, support anybody.
And I gotta be willing to argue with them people at any given moment to get paid. We can't be friends.
As long as you didn't see the Dallas Cowboys, anything will fine with me. We good. We're absolutely good. Let me see your favorite academic subject in school. Now you have to pick one. Math?
Right.
Why math?
Excuse me?
Why math?
Mathematics is the foundation of life.
Hey, you come with a quick answer and then you come with an even better supporting answer. So We're gonna take mathematics. I like math too, but listen, when you reach to college, math just really twists you around sometimes. I ain't gonna lie to you.
That's if you had a hard time in high school.
Listen, I'm telling you, you have to one of those things. You have to catch it at the beginning, and if you
You
don't,
telling me like me and Ben? They went there. I know what? Like
you will never catch up.
I passed college algebra. Like
All right, let me see. Moving on. Your favorite sports movie?
you ever see the air up there?
Nah, which one is that?
It's like one of them African warriors from the Winabi tribe, like a tall dude, like one of them Kenyans, right? And this dude went over to Africa to recruit him to come to America and play at the Man University. Like, I watched that movie a million times that was my favorite basketball movie. Like, never mind all the gangster flicks and stuff. To me, that was like the pure essence of the game. Like, teach a big African to walk.
The air up there. And who's the player? Who's the character in that movie? The concept, right?
Is a concept.
Hey, we gonna take it. We gonna take it. Let's see. This one is interesting one. Your favorite sports moment, a moment that you can remember for the rest of your life that happened, not in your sports career, but something maybe you saw on TV or a live game. Favorite sports moment.
My college teammate, Air Bama, right? He's like a famous dunker, Air Bama, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had a game that was kind of dead. And we know we were going to beat this team by 30 or 40. It's like one of them games you just schedule in the middle of the season to beat on somebody in the middle of college.
Right.
So nobody ain't really up to play. And he like, hey, I bet I wake up, you up today? I'm like, the third play of the game. Somebody train my alley from half court and he catch it and stick his whole elbow in the rim and just and that's like, to me, like, when I die, I might still be talking about that. I might go to heaven like, John, look at when you send me back, right? I want them kind of hops, you know what I mean? I want to do
that. Listen, once you have a moment that's so vivid to you that you never forget, it don't matter. So I definitely like that answer. They make it more personal to you. It ain't like something you see on TV with like Derek.
No, I see this with my own two eyes. Like, I see somebody catch it and stick their elbow in mid-game. That's like, I'll never forget that.
It just certain dunks you to do in game and certain for dunk counters and warm up. And if you're doing that in a game,
he do that in game. Anybody search and look on Team Flight Brothers, Air Bama, and I think you could actually see that dunk online. The video a little grainy because man, them getting old, but it's there.
All right, we definitely gonna look up that one. They might have to share it to one of the Livewire Sports page, but definitely gonna look that one up and see what that's about. Your favorite clothing brand?
I have different clothing brands that I like for different parts of the ensemble. So that's like an unfair. If I had to say, I really like a lot of G-Star, but I'm more into their t-shirts than the pants.
I see what you mean. It's different places. You want a total outfit, you can go one place for the shirt, one place for the pants, one place for the shoes. I definitely get you on that one. But while we're talking about apparel and sports apparel, your favorite sports apparel brand?
Whoever cut in a check this week.
Listen, you have all the right answers for agent. All the right answers. Last one. Favorite childhood memory?
That's a tough one, man. I wasn't really like, I don't. My life was good. Like, I don't have a great memories. Life's been good.
You never had that one moment where you're running from a dog, you jump over the fence, nothing like that. Something in your childhood that stands out. You break your arm, break your leg, something that memorable about your childhood.
I was disgusting bad, so like none of that stuff don't really stand out to me. That's like everyday stuff. You don't break nothing, right? But I was disgusting bad. So it's like what haven't I done? Like,
At this point, it's like so many memories now. Like you definitely can't choose one.
I did it all. Like whatever disgusting children does do, I did it. Like I break windows. I back my mother rent a car into the mailbox. I do everything. Like
All the good stuff.
I did everything.
All right, I got one more here for you. Where did it go? Where did it go? All right, I definitely lost it, but we'll come back to it when we do figure it out. But you survive our little questions or few of our favorite things. You survive it, but we got some people who had some questions for you on the live stream. So we're gonna bring that up on the screen for you right now, so that you can see them and you can respond to those questions for our live viewers and fans here on our page. The first question was the top 5 basketball players you faced.
At what level?
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, I could see who asked that. Bro. Hey, listen. Let me tell you about this guy in particular, right? The person that asked that question is the most talented player I ever played with in my life. Period. That's my 6'5", 6'6" point guard from high school. I love this dude, right? And he asked that question. There's been some great guys like across the years. Oh my goodness, quite a few guys. Quite a few guys.
All right, we gonna leave you. Nah, I ain't leaving slide. You gotta give me 5. You gotta give me. You name a heap of NBA players that you don't play against. A heap of players on your team that you play with. I will go into the slide for a
I'm
second.
in such a peculiar space, man, because like I feel like I'm gonna ostracize somebody, but let me be real, right?
Yes, yes.
Top 5 I ever played against in my life, right?
Pressure. Let's go.
Tough one.
Future line to win the game.
Huh? Chris Paul, number 1. Chris Paul was unbelievable, like unbelievable. Playing against Chris Paul was like tough because his team wasn't not good, but he was right.
So you have Jazz Ross, you have Chris Paul. That's 2. With 3 more. Well, no, that was he's on your team.
Jazz on my team. He don't count.
So,
Chris, Josh Smith, Morris Almond, Jamario Davidson. Just because, like, and those 3 in particular, Josh, Morris, and Jamario, because they were in our region. So in sports in the States, like if they in your region, you have to play them multiple times. It's not like you could play them one time and then never see them again. Nah, you can play these man 3, 4, maybe 5 times in a year, possibly. So to have to see like that kind of talent night in and night out multiple times was tough. And then with this boy named Brian Smith, right? Played like maybe 12 years overseas. We used to call him Killer B. He was the ultimate competitor. And he wasn't like one of the bigger names, but he definitely had one of the biggest spirits I ever had to deal with on a basketball court. He was just hard to beat. Like some people in life, you may not see them jump off the page, but they're winners. And this particular individual falls directly into that category. He was just a winner.
all right. You get 5 there. You almost escaped though, but you had to get that 5. You gotta get a fans. All right, moving on. Go on to this one. How did you switch up and get your conditioning done? So I guess this is when you're talking about having your struggles with conditioning.
It's a decision you have to make. Like nobody, when things like that present themselves in the game, and it ain't just basketball, this is life in general, right? Certain things are going to make you uncomfortable, but you have to decide what it is you want to be. So I credit college basketball for teaching me quite a few things, and perseverance and being able to start and finish a task are at the very top of the list. That conditioning hurdle, along with the lack of checks and balances, with nobody walking you to that 8 o'clock class, you have to take the initiative and go and do it yourself. And people may have a little grace for you when you're trying to come along in the conditioning department, but ultimately you have to push yourself to take that extra step and go a little bit harder than you did the last day. And that's the exponential change that people are going to be able to see in you and watch your investment, and then it automatically translates to your game. Because whatever it is you do special, you could do it for a longer period of time. And that's when you start to really move the needle as a teammate and as a basketball player or any kind of athlete for that matter.
Definitely, definitely. Now we get ready to close out the show. Now you did a good job. We had some fun here on the show, but we want to get back to a little bit of the seriousness here. Would you be interested in doing a community event like maybe a basketball clinic or maybe even a clinic for sports professionals here in the Virgin Islands?
Absolutely, yeah. Why not? I just don't have to do all the work. Like, I need somebody help me. Like, a busy body. Somebody gotta do the. I don't want to have to talk to the iceman. Like, you get an iceman to bring ice and then you go Bellows or whoever it is got Gatorade and get 20 cases of Gatorade so the children can have something to drink. But
That's
it's you call all them people lad, man.
yeah. Listen, what you said just now is something that I've been preaching for a long time. People who from the Virgin Islands, they always want to give back, but we gotta reach out to them and kind of get them involved. You can't expect them to just come and do stuff. Reach out to them, show them that like they're just as important as all the other people in the world that you support in sports. Reach out to them, kind of bring them in, help them with the situation. Don't just expect them to give back. So that's definitely a big thing you said just now, and I definitely agree with you. If you want somebody to do something in the Virgin Islands, reach out to them, see how I could work together, and not just expect the person to do all the work. So that's a big
Yeah, I
thing.
mean, fill some of the gaps. Don't just be there and say, well, none of them don't even care about we. No, we care deeply, right? But I
We got
mean, I gotta call and reserve the gym. How come you can't just call me and tell me like, hey, we got these dates open and you could take one of them because we want to share them, be able to get what you could give, and then give me the opportunity to say no or yes, right? But at least aesthetically, I could see exactly where it is we going. If I have to dream it up from the beginning, my phone might ring and I might say, them people have something going on I have to handle. But if you could give me a rubric of something that I could just simply amend a little bit to fit what I have going on, then we on the right page.
I can respect your answer in that situation. Definitely, definitely. Now, I just wanted to give a shout out to anybody. This always tough for everybody that comes on, but a shout out to anybody who impacted your career, your bringing you up, anything like that. Just get them a shout out right here in case they are watching or when they decide to watch later on our YouTube or Facebook page.
Everybody know Kish loved them from top to bottom. Like it been a lot of people, too numerous to mention, but anybody that's encountered me in the past 7 to 10 years that we've spent any quality time, trust me, you've had some kind of impact on me today. It's something that told me to be true to myself. Somebody that tell me, I have some people that tell me images, everything. There's been people in the Virgin Islands that affected me in a manner long term that they wouldn't even know until I sit down and just hold a reason and tell them, hey, remember when you tell me this? I see. I a little bit different. I come home all the time to catch a vibe because in the States, sometimes the States will allow you to get lazy. Like if you ain't really like into your emotion, but see in the Virgin Islands, right, we have a unique quality. And this is something I want everybody to just stop a minute and let settle in, right? Most people in the Virgin Islands, if they just do something, they don't do it well. They just do it perfect. You understand? If people has clean fish, you ain't gonna find no lungs and guts in their fish, not one scale. You understand? If people, whatever it is they just do, they will take pride in it being very high quality. You understand? And you wouldn't even see the preparation some of these people have put into their tasks. But our native people have a methodical spirit that allows them to really, really execute at a high level. So you don't always get that in America because America is a microwave place. People just bam, 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 we done, right? And everything cool. But our people all the way down to the way they might cook a pea soup. We have a method, and they will follow that method to the T, and they go, ain't got no salt in here. They gonna know right away. You see what I say? Because this is what they do. So I come home to steal the vibe all the time and make sure I have it. Because I want to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning doing what it is I do, because that's where I come from. So there's certain things and certain qualities that I just refuse to compromise. I'm gonna keep it. I'll come home, I'll cool out on my aunt couch and just watch people out the window. Watch them ladies come every morning that walk on Main Street and have the same Thomas and the same backpack and look so nice and clean and walk down, come and park their car and walk down a hill to go to work and come back up the same time every afternoon and do the same thing the next day and be able to do it at a very high level without a run in there stacking. Those are the things that I come from. That's why I take pride for.
Definitely big respect for that answer there. Now we want to thank you once again for taking time out your busy day, because we know you're busy. You got lots of stuff going on, lots of athletes under your belt that you have to deal with. So we want to thank you for coming on our show.
I've been working this whole time.
Listen, one thing I wouldn't, you know how to tell you on the phone and on the plane, you got. I always tell you to put your phone on vibrate and all kind of stuff. I say, nah, this is a businessman here. You can ring up if you need to. So we definitely
been banging this whole time. I just been toggling back and forth.
We definitely thank you for taking your time out to come out here and share a good story.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's been an honor.
So we want you to stick around here. We're gonna close out the show right now. So Live Wire fans will be back next week, Monday at 7:30 with another guest on Between the Lines. But we want to make sure we give a big shout out to Leo, the third Sibley, for our introduction track and our introduction video, which was done by Brilliant Designs. Also, our visual coordinator and executive producer for tonight, Lorena Robinson. Big shout out to you as well. We are done for tonight.
Ms. Robinson, thank you.
With our guest here, KShaun Daley, we definitely appreciated you once again. Thanks for coming on, and everyone have a good night here from Live Wire Sports and Between the Lines.
I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today, another day to get on my grind. Got me singing, whoa, whoa, whoa. Effort on bills for pondering, whoa, whoa. Effort on bills for pondering. I'm doing great, even though every day's not fine. But still I woke up today, another day to get on my grind. Got me singing, whoa, whoa. Effort on bills for pondering, whoa, whoa. Effort on bills for pondering.